What's up, everybody? Alex back here. Another video. Let's do a vinyl finds. I guess this is November, December, something or other. Whatever. I'll be showing a bunch of records and drinking some beer. What do we have? It's still stout season. It's the first week of December here, so we're going barrel-aged Narwhal from the great Sierra Nevada Brewing. Barrel-aged Imperial Stout, 11.9%. We're in the pretty fancy glass, too. Cheers. Yeah, it's good. It's for you, Gary. Gary stole the idea of just drinking beer on camera from me, so I get it. But I appreciate you anyway, Gary. So, a whole bunch of stuff. I'll try to run through. I know I have a problem with my videos going a little bit long. That's my excuse as to why no one watches them, but except you. Appreciate you watching. First, I know everybody's done their Black Friday haul from Record Store Day. I didn't do one. I only got 3 things. I love Record Store Day. It's great. My whole thing that I always try to promote, though, is that Record Store Day started as a way to go out and support the local record stores. It has now sort of become the sales event where it's all about the titles, and it seems like there's a lot of negativity about, oh, there's nothing good, there's nothing this and this and this. And the reality is that Record Store Day for record store owners who have to order and put up a lot of cash for all those records up front is a really tough day. And they don't make a ton of money on those titles anyway. So I always say, even if on Record Store Day you're not crazy about what the titles are being released, go out and support your local stores. Especially buying used records. That's where the money is for them, is buying those used records. So that's it. But I only picked up 3 things, and I will dive into those right now. I haven't talked about this band on the channel yet, but I love them. I've seen them a couple times now over the last couple years, and this was really the major want that I had. I thought it was going to be a little bit more rare than it was because their fan base is a little bit rabid when it comes to these things. But I am talking about a band that's, I guess, been around for 20 years now. Call them, I don't know, metalcore, some emo, progressive rock. I mean, their whole story is like ultimate prog, but they're not really like a prog band. It doesn't matter. I'm talking about the great Coheed and Cambria. This is live from live at the Starland Ballroom in New Jersey. This was released, I think, as a CD years and years ago. I had some friends who had the CD and played the hell out of it, and this was released on Black Friday for the first time on vinyl. This was before they really, well, I guess they never really blew up, but this has their first 2 studio records and I think like their EP type music on there. So it's before Welcome Home and all that kind of stuff that they got a little bit more popular. But a ton of great stuff on here. Sound quality, fine. I mean, when you listen to Coheed, you're not exactly hearing or looking for an audiophile type of quality, but you can just tell like the energy is there. It was a sold out show. There's a cool story about how they sold tickets and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Coheed, and this was cool because I think this is like really the only official sort of live release that they have on vinyl. I could be making that up, but at least that I know. And their vinyl is not easy to come by, especially their special stuff. So this was a for sure pickup for me, and I'm so glad I did it. Next one is a title that I always pick up. I started doing this a couple years ago, and it's always been something that has stood out to me. And I'm all in on the Jazz Dispensary series. If you don't know, these are typically Record Store Day exclusive releases that are compilations that are put together by the Jazz Dispensary, which is a sub-label of Craft Recordings. And each one sort of has a different theme to it, right? So the theme this year was at the movies, and so I had heard, I don't know if this is true, but I had heard that it's specifically, a lot of like movie type stuff that was taken specifically from some of those earlier blaxploitation films. Big funky sort of aspects to this. These are always really great, in my opinion. Craft and Jazz Dispensary do an incredible job. And I think that the best part is, outside of the music, is the wax is always pretty damn beautiful. And this one is no different. This is one of my favorite ones they've done. So it's on like a marble, lilac, purple sort of thing. So yeah, killer, love it, great stuff. And the third and only other one I got was another jazz artist that always puts out stuff for Record Store Day, but they're always like these triple or double LPs that are always like $60, $70, and it's not worth it to me. So when this one was coming out and I saw it was just a single LP and I think it was retailing for around $30, I decided to get it. I'm a huge Bill Evans fan. And so this was Tales live in Copenhagen, 1964 with Chuck Israels and Larry Bunker. This is great stuff. Elemental does great stuff. I know that Bernie Grundman had cut this and mastered this, and so it sounds great. It's a great recording, and to me, it's just, it's the Bill Evans Trio doing Bill Evans Trio stuff. So this was a great pickup, again, only because it was like $30, and usually these things go for so much more. So it was an easy choice for me. That was it from Record Store Day. Let's jump from Record Store Day into a box set. Now, I am not really a box set guy, especially for a lot of these like big remaster sets that so many people are into. I love the bands. It's just hard for me to rationalize a couple $100 for a lot of times a record and outtakes that I already own. But I didn't own this record, and this like popped on sale. Some of you might know, like every once in a while Amazon, there's like a glitch or something, and like an item goes for sale for like a day, and people are like, is that price right? I don't care. I'm just going to click it and buy it. That's what I did for this one. So I had been holding out on this because I didn't want to pay the whole price, but I did not have the record. And when this was kind of popped up on that feed, I was like, yeah, I'm grabbing it. And it's the Bob Dylan Fragments Time Out of Mind Sessions. This is the 4 LP set. So it's the full Time Out of Mind and then some different versions and outtakes on the other 2 LPs. This was $40. Yeah, so I grabbed it. I know everybody had been talking about how much they love this, different, obviously, production or different mix than from the Daniel Lanois stuff. But it was my first time hearing the record, and I really liked it. So, yeah, typically I don't do these types of things, but for $40, it was a no-brainer. It's not $40 anymore. Sorry. But yeah, I'm really glad I did it because it's a great record. We'll go from box set to 7-inch. I won't spend a whole lot of time on this because I'm not the person to talk about these things. That is literally for every other YouTube channel, not mine. But I had to pick it up. Went ahead and picked it up. I wasn't sure, still not sure about getting the blue and red stuff, but I did want this idea of I want to own Now and Then physically. So whether that was going to be on the new new red and blue stuff, or if I was just going to get the 7-inch, decided to get the 7-inch. And of course, because, you have to be cute, I had to get it on that beautiful, had to do that blue marble, which is nice, but also it's like a $20 song. So, it's the Beatles. I'm into it. I like the song. I love the story. It's not my generation, so it feels great to be able to kind of go back and experience that kind of stuff. And so I do, I love it. So from there, whole bunch of stuff. I'll try to go through as fast as I can while also still, talking a little bit here and there. Of course, taking a sip too. For your beer drinkers out there, if you're a stout drinker, especially if you like barrel-aged stouts, let the beer warm up. Don't drink those ice cold. Let it warm up. Sometimes even getting it to room temperature, all that stuff's gonna come out. It's delicious, it's beautiful. I just showed these 2 records on a previous video, so I'll be quick with them, but I think 2 of the most underrated live records that nobody talks about. Alchemy from Dire Straits, 1984. Mark Knopfler is a freak. I mean, the dude's a freak, and I think one of the most underrated guitarists in the entire world. This record is so good. Sound quality is amazing. Compositions are great. They extend the songs a little bit, but not crazy, pretentious jams. Great set list. Really, I think just a great last call before Brothers in Arms and before sort of the synth took over, and then they sort of lost themselves in that. On the complete other end of the spectrum, Dutch band Golden Earring Live. Picked this up about a week ago for like $6 or $7. Amazing. Said it before in the previous video. If you're unsure about Golden Earring, but you see this one, pick it up. If all you know is Radar Love and Twilight Zone, pick it up. I mean, just awesome, hard rock, progressive rock, just amazing stuff. Can't recommend either of those enough. A lot of people have been talking about this, but I've been talking about this for months now. If you watch my channel, you know I'm a big Peter Gabriel fan, especially after seeing him so many months ago. And I am ecstatic that his new record has finally been released. I did get both of them. I do like the Dark Side mixes a little bit more. The mixes, I would say, are pretty negligible. I'm not an audiophile. I don't listen in. I don't A/B test. I don't do those different things. I'm just a collector, and I love this record, and I love Peter Gabriel, so I wanted both versions. Look at that Physical Ticket I was able to get, too, from the show. Physical Ticket. This is my album of the year, without a doubt. I love this record so much. If you like Peter Gabriel, you're going to love this. I don't know what else to say, but he's just so creative. His band's amazing. It's so artsy. It's just a full experience, and I cannot stop listening to these, and yeah, it's my album of the year for sure. Well, this one came out, I was on a stream a couple weeks ago, and I told somebody that I only owned one Elvis Costello record, and they looked at me like I was insane. So I said, all right, well, where should I go from there? And they said, well, there's a lot of different eras. You know, basically those first like 5 or 6 years are all great, but they recommended Imperial Bedroom. So I got it. I'm not the hugest Elvis Costello fan, although I do appreciate and respect him, and I think he is someone who, the more I listen to him, the more enjoyment I will get. So I'm kind of tipping my toes in to each record instead of just going and buying like a whole discography and then struggling with it. So yeah, Imperial Bedroom. But if you have other recommendations, let me know what you think. A band from Weirton, West Virginia. Not a ton of West Virginia bands. Can't think of any. Funny enough, they are a West Virginia band, but they fall somewhere actually between, it's the West Virginia Panhandle. So it's actually between like Cleveland and Pittsburgh, kind of. That's actually a stretch up there is West Virginia. Anyways, I'm talking about Crack the Skye. I showed this on a haul, not this, but I showed a Crack the Skye video, Crack the Skye record on a haul several weeks, if not months ago at this point, and said that I really wanted their debut. And so here we go, found their debut. Great stuff. Good American progressive rock. Probably just a little bit past, you know, that progressive rock time, right? Like prog wasn't cool in '76. You're kind of falling into AOR range. You had to be sort of a hit machine to be cool. But this is Crack the Skye's debut. Great stuff. And I always think it's funny too on Lifesong. Not a lot of stuff on Lifesong records. But this is good. Just good old fashioned American hard rock. Here's an underrated, not talked about enough record. So this is a band where everybody talks about their debut. Everybody talks about their debut. It's proto metal. It is garagey, hard rock, amazing, like I think it's San Francisco, like heavy rock from 1967. Everybody talks about the debut from Blue Cheer, which they should, because it's amazing and it is proto all of those things. But what people don't talk about is that their second one, Outside Inside, is just as damn good and just as damn heavy. Next year, 1968, beautiful cover. This is freaking heavy as hell too. After this, they went a little bit, they had a couple members leave, went a little bit more, a little bit softer, a little bit bluesier. But this is just as heavy as that debut is, and it's just as good. So if you sort of look at Blue Cheer as like, oh, I just need that debut and nothing else, get this one, because this is fabulous and just as good and just as just heavy, garagey, dirty. Yeah, I love this. This is good stuff. Blue Cheer, Outside Inside. Almost messed that up. Shout out to my boy Steve at All the World's a Stage. He just showed this record in a video that he posted when he was doing his 5 years in a life, I think, sort of project that he does where he focuses on a band and walks through the 5 years of sort of them in their prime or whatever he deems as important. But he showed this because the early records here in the States of Humble Pie during like the Peter Frampton era are very rare, hard to come by, almost impossible. But they did the typical like US thing where they say, are those two records really hard to come by and we don't even know if they were released here? Let's do a comp and combine them. So as he was posting this video a couple days ago, I was like, damn, Steve, I just picked that up about a week ago. Humble Pie, Lost and Found. So this includes both Town and Country and As Safe as Yesterday Is, which is, I believe, their first 2 records. And this is like, you know, the thing is that I love about these types of things, and, you know, those sort of comps goes across, there's a lot of different examples of those comps happening where they've combined a couple of records that are really rare, really expensive, and you can get both of them for really cheap. I think I paid $5 for this. $5 for the first 2 records. Wacky cover, kind of love it. But yeah, Humble Pie stuff, that good British hard rock, not that easy to find, especially the Peter Frampton early stuff. So happy to have that, regardless of, you know, what pressing it is or any of that kind of shit, right? How about some jazz? I know my other people are going to be like, jazz, why do you talk about jazz? Well, I do like jazz, but specifically, I like fusion a lot, and also being pretty particular about the type of jazz I buy. But this one, I've been looking at this for a while because I want to spend more time knowing and appreciating artists that come from the Central Ohio or Columbus area, which is where I'm at. And the most famous jazz musician from the Columbus area, without a doubt, Roland Kirk, multi-instrumentalist, studied at the Ohio State School for the Blind, which was the first public school for the visually impaired, was in Columbus. But just an amazing career, really well respected, kind of some out there avant-garde stuff from time to time, which I really enjoy, but I'm really hoping to continue to build out my collection of Roland Kirk stuff. In the jazz fusion world, and this is whenever I talk to new people about this band, they're always like, not that Phil Collins, right? Yes, that Phil Collins, the debut from Brand X. 1976 was a crazy busy year for Phil Collins. He took over the throne as lead singer of Genesis and put out, 2 records then, Trick of the Tail and Wind and Ruther at the time, and also put out this banger with 3 other incredible musicians. Brand X, this is as good as it gets in jazz fusion world. So if you like Return to Forever, you like Mahavishnu, you like Weather Report, this is right up there in my opinion. Phil Collins on drums. And if you have a single hesitation about how good of a drummer Phil Collins actually is because, you're like the Tarzan guy, it can't be. Listen to Brand X. The man was insane on the drums. So this is their debut, arguably their best, Unorthodox Behavior. I think that's a Hypnosis cover. Kind of weird, but I was Hypnosis at the time. Insane. What a band and what a record this is. Just mandatory jazz fusion for me. This one comes with a bit of a short story. I've shared it a couple times, but when I was in high school, I was in a band, and sort of we were in like a rock and roll kind of band. We were a bunch of like 16, 17-year-olds that loved like Led Zeppelin and that kind of stuff. But our biggest show ever that we got to do was we got to open up for the Michael Schenker Group. And at the time, I really didn't even know him outside of just like the original guitarist in Scorpions who recorded that first record when he was like 15 or whatever. But it was the Michael Schenker Group, and I think Gary Barden was actually singing with him too. So I finally, after all these years, picked up the debut. Michael Schenker's just wild guitarist, absolutely amazing. Those first, obviously, the UFO records are incredible too, but these Michael Schenker Group records are pretty damn good as well. So, super stoked to finally have this, just because he'll always mean so much to me, I guess, as we opened for him at the Peabody's in Cleveland. Peabody's is no longer there, but a good time, absolutely. I lack the vast majority of 10 years after. Steve, you'll probably be upset with me, but add it to the list of things you'll be upset with me about, Steve. It's growing. I have, I think, their live record, Undead, is it? And then I think I have like maybe a comp or greatest hits that came out in the mid-70s. But everything else I don't have. So I found this one for cheap and decided to grab it. It's Cricklewood Green. I don't know. I always love that cover. It's not a great cover, but it's just weird. What was this, 69, 70, something like that? Could be making that up. Yeah, I don't know a ton about this. I know obviously 10 Years After, just kind of classic blues, rock and roll, but yeah, looking forward to this since I don't have a ton of them in my collection. This was certainly a hole filler. I think this was $1. I do like the Alan Parsons Project. This was probably the last good thing. Eve. Again, I do like Alan Parsons Project. Love iRobot. Love some of the earlier stuff. Term of a Friendly Card. Yes. Vulture Culture, doesn't matter. This was, again, kind of later. This is 79, I believe. Yeah, I have all their other stuff, and I do enjoy it. It's artsy. I don't know if I would call it proggy, but definitely accessible pop, very technology-driven. I do enjoy it. That's Eve, Alan Parsons Project. This is sort of the fourth of the 5 sort of classic era of Stevie Wonder stuff. This is, struggle saying every time, Fulfillingness's first finale. Yeah, this one is the one that came out right before Songs in the Key of Life. So I think this is 74. Great stuff. Some of that progressive soul that's on there. What is the song on here that just, They Won't Go When I Go. What a freaking song that is. Dark, haunting, just everything you wouldn't expect. An incredible song though. So, yeah, still need like Talking Book and Intervisions and some of that other stuff, but yeah, big Stevie Wonder fan, and this is a killer record. Kind of here again, a bit of a cheap hole filler. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. Cheap hole filler, that's what they used to call me. I hardly know her. Y'all know I'm all in on Sensational Alex Harvey Band, so this was, I believe, the last one that they did. Rock Drill. It's solid, it's good, it doesn't suck, but it's not obviously great. I am all in on the suite, and whole front side is the Rock Drill suite, which I like. But it is so funny hearing this type of stuff and thinking of like really laid the groundwork for like the Bon Scotts of the world and Brian Johnsons of the world, that whole gravelly, throaty, vocal style. Wild cover. I know it's a take on a sculpture, but just hilarious. But yeah, Sensational Alex Harvey Band. Even the mediocre stuff is still really damn good. Back in sort of jazz land, found this and said, these are two people who are arguably the greatest at their respective instruments, so I'm gonna buy it. Gary Burton and Chick Corea duet. This is simply two people. This is Gary Burton on vibes and Chick Corea on piano. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. This is not fusion. This is accessible. This is not out there, but this is two people on two instruments. So if you don't like vibes, you might not like this. But it's very much solo piano and vibes the whole time. But Gary Burton, Chick Corea are just at the top of their sort of respective Mount Rushmores of their instruments. So couldn't pass that up. I believe this is their ECM. Yeah, ECM. Of course, so much is so great on ECM. So yeah, beautiful stuff. Record I've seen a million times and I've always passed up. This has got a funny story with it, and you can dig down the rabbit hole of what that is. But the debut from Klaatu. The story is kind of crazy, ridiculous, that this was rumored to be like the Beatles coming back in disguise. I think this came out in, 76, 75, something like that. I think the name of this technically is 3:47 Eastern Standard Time, something like that. I really like this. I know Glenn Calloway from the basement hates this, but I really like it. It just started raining really hard outside. Don't know if you can hear that. It's poppy. It's not really proggy, but it is a little bit more artsy. Great vocals. That first song, Calling Occupants of Interplanetary Craft, which was actually covered by the Carpenters, of all people, the next year, where they brought in 140 musicians or something. But yeah, I really like this. I don't think it sounds a ton like the Beatles. I think there's one song on here that the guy kind of sounds like Paul, but yeah, good stuff. I like it. I might find the rest of their stuff and pick that up too, because they're usually pretty cheap. And yeah, it was good stuff. Here is a British progressive rock band that does not get talked about at all, but I'm a huge fan of them. I'm talking about Barclay James Harvest and the record Baby James Harvest. This was 72, believe, 73. So I think maybe like their third or fourth record, something like that. I have their debut and then a handful after that, but I think this is one of the earliest ones I have. Barclay James Harvest is an amazing progressive rock band. They do sort of get like lumped in with the Moody Blues. In fact, later they did a song called The Poor Man's Moody Blues, referring to themselves because that's how the critics viewed them. I don't think they sound like the Moody Blues at all. I think they were just kind of labeled that because they used orchestras a lot. But to me, the key with Barclay James Harvest is their vocals and pop sensibility. Hooks for Days, amazing vocals, which is not exactly something that early 70s prog was known for, but they definitely have it. And I'm really excited to add this one to the collection. Let's see, anything else here? Yeah, actually, kind of in a similar vein. I don't know, call them prog, call them early. They were more like blues R&B. Later, they kind of became a little bit more glammy. This is sort of in that middle period. But it's Freeway Madness by The Pretty Things. This was 72, I believe. So this is kind of after that SF Sorrow, Parachutes type era. I mean, those records are $1 million. But this was an original, and I think kind of right in that mid-ground between some of that more artsy, progressive-y, theatrical kind of stuff and what they would later do in the mid to later 70s. So, yeah, don't see this one out a whole lot. Freeway Madness, kind of a stupid cover, but that is what people did in those days. And, yeah, pumped for that. Let's see, that might be all I have. Yeah, that's it. Well, hey, appreciate you as always hanging around this long. Yeah, more videos to come, hopefully. And if not, have a good week, weekend, good holiday, whatever you're celebrating, whatever you're doing, be sure it's a good one. And yeah, we'll chat soon. Thanks, y'all.